today we're looking at a review of what all these figures come together to build. Here's the complete Fusion Zamasu wave all standing up together. I'll move the camera out here a little bit to get a better view. Notice they're not all at the same level, so these heights aren't completely perfect all the way across. But this is your set of 6 figures that you come to complete to finally build the one and only Fusion Zamasu. I mean, it's not a super exciting build-a-figure by any means. It's not like a super-sized figure like some lines do, like Marvel Legends I know used to do. I don't know if they still do that, but they used to do giant figures and whatnot. But this is a very nice build-a-figure, so now we'll look at just him. Move all these guys out of the way. Now on to the star. Oopsie. Fusion Zamasu is a very nice and clean figure. And I say clean, which is kind of counterproductive given his sledgy and metamorphosized appearance. Comes with all the articulation that you've come to expect in the Dragon Ball Super's line. Comes with a ball-jointed head, ball-jointed shoulder, swivel bicep, double-jointed elbow, your ball-joint swivel hand. You have your ball-jointed hip, double-jointed knees, and then finally your ankle articulation. But on the right arm you don't have the swivel bicep and you don't have the double jointed wrist. So keep that in mind, that your right arm, your sludgy arm or whatever you want to call it, it's not perfect. And he also comes with one accessory, which is fine, I'll take it. It comes just a closed fist. Appears to be the same sculpt as the one used with Zamasu, which, I mean, given that it's the same character, makes sense. A lot of the parts are also used from Zamasu as far as I can tell. Here's Zamasu. As you can see, it looks as though the left arm seems to be the same mold. The right, surprisingly, that seems to be the only part, because the waist and legs and boots, even though they look very, very similar, they decided to re-sculpt them in a slight fashion just to make, I don't know, the release new or so. Because yeah, you're missing a lot of the detail in the bottom of the boots there that match. So overall, fairly new sculpt. Maybe just the left arm that reused, but it's so similar that they could have just slightly altered it. And yeah, we'll look at the figure now. The head sculpt is probably the one reason you want this figure, because you get that nice ghoulish smile to him. Very nice paint app between it. The line's not perfect between the green and purple, but I think that's intended. You're supposed to have this weird mishmash of color. And there's his earring sculpted on, his Saiyan hair and whatnot. But what I really love is the shoulder articulation. As you can see, it's not perfectly in there. There's a little bit of a gap there, which I actually like since you get this extra range of motion with the movement of the ball and socket here. So you have all this extra motion just because it's slightly farther away, and you get all you can do with this nice arm. So you have this huge arm, no wrist articulation, but I think that's just for the sculpt here, since you would have had to have a really weird cutoff here, and I don't know, maybe you guys wanted a wrist articulation there, but I'm fine without it. And again, same with the swivel and the bicep. It would have had to have been a really weird cutoff without cleanness or anything. So I'm, again, fine trading off some articulation for some details in the sculpt. This figure falls into the same line of articulation as the Zamasu figure, as I stated before, in which it comes with this really restrictive skirt. I don't know what I want them to make the skirt out of. I don't know what they can do. I don't know if cloth is really a good approach, since cloth really doesn't match the cartoon, I want to call it, aesthetic. I don't know if I can call them a cartoon, but you know what I'm saying. So I don't think cloth is your best option here, but there's no waist articulation. Like, this is as far apart as you can get his legs. Whoop, there you go. There's articulation. It's like they give him all this articulation just to throw it out with the sculpt. And again, with the knees, you can only bend them back so far, because then it just stops. So again, this figure's great if you want a static pose Fusion Zamasu, which, in most cases, that's fine. Works out fine. But if you want like a huge battling one where he's flying through the air or whatnot, fighting Trunks, I don't know what you're going to do. Maybe make a custom one, because this skirt really inhibits any articulation of the lower legs. Almost all the articulation is really pointless there. You have ankle articulation, which is good. I'll show that off here. You have a good bit of motion there. I know not a super great amount, but enough to like pose your figure in the way you want to, especially with the limited range of motion with the rest of the body. So overall, I'm gonna give this. I don't know if I should even rate this figure because it's a Build-A-Figure. It's leagues above Shenron. I've shown my distaste towards Shenron in previous videos. I'm just not a fan of the statue that gets completely blown out of the water by figure arts. So, yeah, the Shenron was nice, but I much prefer an extra figure. Because it's like, hey, you buy 6 figures, we'll give you a 7th for free, you know? It's a little deal you get. And then, for some people, I know they like to recoup their costs from the wave by selling this guy. And he goes for like a pretty penny. Last time I checked, he was going for like 80 to 100, somewhere in there. So if you buy the wave at retail pricing, what are you paying, like 120? Yeah, there's half your money back after shipping and fees and whatnot off this guy. So you pay 10 bucks a figure if you don't want Fusion Zamasu, which is really good because it helps Bandai sell more toys, so we get more waves in the future because successful lines go on, and that helps the collector who don't quite want the Build-A-Figures much. So yeah, and it's hard to give this a rating because I'm rating it next to Shenron, as I said before, and next to Shenron it's a 10. But next time we're getting a Kale figure, which hopefully I'll have soon since I've pre-ordered the wave already. So maybe it'll be blown out of the water by Kale. But for now, I'm just going to give it a solid 9. Like, I realize I complained about the sculpt, and you're saying, well, you doc, Zamasu, a whole bunch of points for that. Well, Zamasu wasn't Build-A-Figure. Zamasu, you paid full price for it, the figure. This one is just a free figure you get. So I'm going to be a lot lighter on my rating for it. But yeah, I'll give it a 9. It's a very good figure. I would highly suggest picking up the wave, but I'm a completionist, so I'd always suggest picking up the wave. And I think most of them are going for about retail pricing right now on Amazon or whatnot. So be sure to pick it up quick, because you don't know how long until things shoot up, like Vegeta Black from the first wave. Well, black-haired Vegeta. But again, that's being re-released, so maybe don't pick them up. I don't know. I don't speculate in the markets. That's something for you to do on your own. But thanks for watching.